Welcome to English Story Cafe. Today, we will explore Think Faster, Speak Clearer. It's a phrase that captures the dream of every English language learner, isn't it? That moment when the English word is not just floating somewhere in the abyss of your memory, but it's right there on the tip of your tongue, ready to be deployed. That moment when you're no longer translating in your head, when you're simply thinking in English. We've all been there, standing across from a native speaker or even just another confident learner, and the mental gears seize up. You know the grammar, you know the vocabulary, but assembling it into a coherent, natural-sounding sentence feels like trying to build an IKEA bookcase with no instructions and only one hand. That gap between thought and speech feels enormous, like crossing a chasm on a tightrope. So, how do we bridge that gap? How do we move from being a learner who knows English to a speaker who uses English effortlessly and fluently? It starts with a simple shift in perspective and a deep dive into the brain's amazing plasticity. Learning a language is not just an academic exercise, it's the construction of an entirely new cognitive pathway. When you first learn a word, say serendipity, your brain creates a new connection between the sound of that word and its meaning. But when you're learning your native language, that connection is reinforced countless times a day, every day, from birth. It's an electrical superhighway. For English, especially if you started later in life, it's more like a barely there dirt track. The process of translating in your head, thinking in your native language, finding the English equivalent, assembling the sentence, and then speaking it, that is the main culprit slowing you down. It's a bottleneck. It's like sending all your traffic through one tiny toll booth. To think faster and speak clearer, we need to bypass the toll booth entirely. We need to start having our thoughts travel directly on the English superhighway. The key to this is a concept called immersion, but with intention. Many people think immersion means moving to London or New York and simply existing there. While that's helpful, true immersion is about consciously shaping your daily environment to force your brain to operate in English. It's about taking away the easy out. Let's talk about vocabulary. When you learn a new word, don't just learn its definition, learn its context. Don't write down that peculiar means strange. Instead, write down the whole phrase. He had a peculiar way of looking at me. Or, the flavor was strangely peculiar. Your brain doesn't store individual words, it stores chunks of language, or what linguists call collocations. Think about it this way. No native speaker ever sits down and says, "I will use the word absolutely now." They say, "That is absolutely fantastic," or "I absolutely agree." The two words are packaged together. When you study English, package them together. When you encounter a new verb, always learn the preposition that goes with it. Rely on, depends on, look up. This pre-packaged language allows your brain to retrieve and deploy groups of words instantly, like a single unit, rather than having to piece them together one by agonizing one. This is the first step to clearing the mental fog. The next critical element is shadowing and repetition. If thinking faster is about building the pathways, then speaking clearer is about exercising the vocal muscles and the brain's audio-motor loop. Shadowing is an extremely powerful technique where you listen to an English speaker, maybe on this podcast or on a YouTube video, and you try to imitate their speech at the exact same time. You are their shadow. You are not waiting for them to finish, you are speaking right alongside them, copying their intonation, their rhythm, their speed, and their pronunciation. Why is this so effective? Because it forces you to focus on the sound and flow of English, not just the grammar.
It breaks the habit of translating because your brain is too busy keeping up with the speed of the native speaker to go back to your native language for translation. It's a high-speed, intense workout for fluency. Do this with short segments, perhaps just a minute or two at first. Listen to the minute, then play it again and shadow. Do this 10 times. The 10th time will feel drastically different from the first. You're teaching your mouth how English feels. You're training your ear to hear the rhythm, and you are literally speeding up the connection between hearing English and producing English. That connection is the core of thinking faster. Now, let's tackle the inevitable fear, the fear of mistakes. This fear is arguably the biggest obstacle to fluency. It's the invisible wall that holds us back from speaking in the first place, and that hesitation is what makes us sound slower and less confident. The problem is that many language learners view mistakes as evidence of failure, when in reality they are evidence of trying.
Think of a small child learning to walk. They fall down hundreds of times. They don't stop and decide, walking is not for me. They just get up and try again. The fall is just a necessary part of the process. In language learning, fluency is not the absence of mistakes, it is the ability to communicate your ideas effectively and with minimal hesitation. A native speaker will understand you even if you use the wrong tense or an incorrect preposition. They might correct you, and that correction is a gift. It's a free lesson. But the key is that the message got across. To overcome this fear, you need to practice what I call Guerilla English. This means finding small, low-stakes opportunities to use English in the real world every single day. Change the language on your phone and computer. Start commenting in English on social media posts. If you're at a coffee shop, even if you're in a non-English speaking country, rehearse a short English order in your head and then say it out loud, even if the person replies in your native language. The act of production, the actual sound coming out of your mouth is what matters. If you're watching a movie in English, pause it and try to summarize what just happened in a single sentence. If you're walking down the street, start a monologue in your head about what you see. A dog is running. The sky is getting darker. I need to buy milk. This internal monologue is the ultimate practice for thinking in English. It's private, there's no pressure, and it builds those English pathways at lightning speed. Let's touch briefly on grammar for fluency. Many learners spend years studying intricate grammar rules and conjugations. While grammar is the skeleton of the language, it's not the muscle. You don't learn to swim by reading a book about buoyancy. You learn by getting in the water. Focus on functional grammar. Instead of trying to memorize every conditional tense, focus on the structures that allow you to express the most common concepts, talking about the past, talking about the future, expressing possibility, and making requests. For example, the simple structure, I wish I could have, allows you to express regret about the past in a clear, natural way. Master that structure and use it repeatedly rather than just knowing the name of the grammatical rule. Fluency is built on a small core of powerful, high-frequency grammar used accurately and automatically. So, let's bring it all back to that initial goal. Think faster, speak clearer. It's not magic, it's momentum. It is making the deliberate choice to stop translating and start feeling the language. It's deciding that a small, imperfect sentence spoken immediately is infinitely better than a perfectly polished sentence that takes 10 seconds to construct. You are moving the language from the slow, analytical part of your brain, the conscious learner, to the fast, automatic part of your brain, the confident speaker. It's about making English a habit, not a task. Start today. Change your phone to English. When you are pouring a cup of coffee, narrate it to yourself in English. When you encounter a new phrase, not just a word, practice saying it 5 times out loud. The journey to fluency is a marathon, but the progress is visible every single day if you are consistent.
You will notice that those mental gears are no longer grinding to a halt. The words will start to flow because you have paved a faster, clearer road for them. You have built your English superhighway. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and remember that every mistake is simply a temporary signpost pointing you to where you need to practice next. You have the knowledge. Now give yourself the freedom to use it. That's when the true joy of speaking English begins. Thank you for joining me on English Story Cafe.